A lot of CIOs, CTOs, they work in these larger businesses, these larger organizations, and they see all these clunky systems around them, like you said about the invoice check. How should they go about, or how should they think about convincing their stakeholders in finance or somewhere else? You were an accountant. What would you expect from somebody like that to persuade you and to help you?
I think one number one thing is what is it causing on a cash flow? What is the financial impact of this? And all right, so with the QA/QC process, if they have quality assurance process now delaying the submittal of the invoices, and how much money this is costing them based
Saying that,
this that's and that could be calculated if you take the average invoice, times the days of delays, and it's a huge cash impact.
and then measuring success of an impact after a project, after run an AI project, is also quite simple using the same cash flow impact. Has that changed? Has there been a difference?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Cool. I think the biggest challenge that we see, and well, you deal with a lot of construction companies, but also in larger companies, is data, right? It's very nice to have clean data, to have a perfectly clean database. That is never the case, or at least not in the business that I've seen. How do you go about addressing that in the companies that you work with? And what would your advice be to CIOs or CTOs in larger businesses?
This is such a actually so we this example of QA/QC is such a good example that we can bring up because the data is created by us humans, right? So we insert the data in some way, in shape and form. And when we work with the construction companies, for example, what we see is, well, we work with technicians that say on the field they've done their job and now they enter in their information that turns into the invoice. But the information that they might be entering is grammatically incorrect, is incomplete, is inconsistent with, let's say there's a guidelines and rules, right? So now what happens, the financial side of the billing department cannot submit that invoice because first of all, they have to review it manually. Then they have to put together invoice based on it manually, let's say, right? To kind of clean it up because they can't send that to the client. Well, right there is data inconsistencies, the garbage data, garbage in, garbage out. This is where AI could help. This is where AI could basically, okay, assess the information that came from the technician because they're busy. Their job is not to enter the admin work. Basically, their job is like, all right, I'm on the field. I assess what's happening. Like my job is to kind of like fix it or propose some type of a solution to fix it. Basically, my job is not to write like eloquent, uh, yeah, statements here. Um, so this is where AI could come in, basically evaluate, all right, well, this is our protocol, for example. These are the rules that we need to submit our information. Is it matching it or not? Because AI is really great at pattern matching. Well, now it has seen so many of them and it could say, all right, well, for example, the piece about the instructions are not complete. Can you please provide additional information? So it can go back to it and actually clean up as well. Clean up the writing. We do that very well, right? We can copy and paste our stuff into ChatGPT and then rewrite it. That does really well. Summarize it, put the nice heading to it, all right, and then bring it back to the for invoicing. So don't and have a human, for example, at invoicing now that they're experts and know what information should go in there, quickly evaluate, and then just that process now is so much smoother. And I think as we talk about AI cannot run on chaos and AI cannot run on systems that don't have APIs because there's no backend access, right? So like there's nothing you could do. And actually we are dealing with that as well. Like we want to help a couple companies to automate, but if the system does not allow, and there's still a lot of companies that use systems that there's no backdoor for you to push and pull information. So kind of stuck. And this is where you need to make a decision. Okay, do you move to another system? What's the process of migrating to another system? Or does the system opens the API at some point or not? But yeah, and data cleansing is very important because AI generates content based on the data that you give it to.
Exactly. And that's so for integration, you depend on the APIs that are in those systems. And if they're not there, it's kind of hard. Do you ever use like the integrated API? Because almost every tool supplier these days thinks we're going to give you an AI agent or an AI interface that you can sort of work with. Do you use those tools as well? The integrated AIs of those tools?
Good point. So, for example, about Wiki Voice AI agent, right? So there's a jobber in construction that has the AI. Go High Level has the AI. But here's what we see with our clients. Our clients are they kind of a little worried about turning that on without proper supervision, without proper, I would say, fine tune, right? About proper giving direction. Because again, that system is picking up the calls. So you want to make sure you audit the calls, making sure that there's safe guardrails around it. That's not hallucinating, giving pricing that you probably never hold it to, you know, or give the services that you didn't ask, or actually give like system prompt, for example. So yeah, what we see is, you know, I almost like at the beginning I was kind of like, oh my god, like every software is going to come with their own AI. I was kind of like, what am I going to help with, right? So I was a little worried, but now the way I look at this is more like, wait a minute, it's the same way as like with analytics. You already came with their own analytics. Nobody uses them because it's not great, because it's out of box and it does not speak to that client. And it's the systems are so large, they cannot like make it for you, like knowing all your let's say pain points, all the processes that you run your company on. So what we do custom for them, or we fine tune and kind of like adjust the ones to them. So I think the same thing with what I see with the AI as well. It's like every system comes with own AI, but it comes out of package. So now you can integrate it. So for example, Salesforce comes with their own force agents, but they still need to be integrated. You can't just like turn them on and now like go wild, basically go run wild.